Judges chapter 1. 1 After that Joshua was dead, the children of Israel asked ye Lord, saying, Who shall go VP for versus against the Canaanites, to fight first against them? 2 And the Lord said, Judah shall go VP, behold, I had Juan the land into his hand. 3 And Judah said to Simeon his brother, Come VP with me into my lot, that we may fight against the Canaanites, and I likewise will go with thee into thy lot. So Simeon went with him. 4 Then Judah went VP, and the Lord delivered the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hands, and they slew of them in Bezek 10,000 men. 5 And they found Adoni-Bezek in Bezek, and they fought against him, and slew the Canaanites, and the Perizzites. 6 But Adoni-Bezek fled, and they pursued after him, and caught him, and cut off the thumbs of his hands and of his feet. 7 And Adoni-Bezek said, Suanti kings having the thumbs of their hands and of their feet cut off, gathered bread vendor my table, as I ha done, so God hath rewarded me. So they brought him to Jerusalem, and there he died. 8 Now the children of Judah had fought against Jerusalem, and had taken it and smitten it with the edge of the sword, and had set the city on fire. 9 Afterward also the children of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites, that dwelt in the mountain, and toward the south, and in the low country. 10 And Judah went against the Canaanites that dwelt in Hebron, which Hebron beforetime was called Kiriath-arba, and they slew Sheshai and Ahiman and Talmai. 11 And from thence he went to the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir in old time was Kiriath-Sepher. 12 And Caleb said, He that smitteth Kiriath-Sepher, and taketh it, Ewan to him will I give Achsah my daughter to wife. 13 And Othniel the son of Kenaz Caleb's younger brother took it, to whom he gave Achsah his daughter to wife. 14 And when she came to him, she met him to ask of her father a field, and she lighted off her assy, and Caleb said to her, What wilt thou? 15 And she answered him, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south country, give me also springs of water. And Caleb gave her the springs Abu and the springs beneath. 16 And the children of Kenny Moses' father-in-law went VP out of the city of the palm trees with the children of Judah, into the wilderness of Judah, that lieth in the south of Arad, and went and dwelt among the people. 17 But Judah went with Simeon his brother, and they slew the Canaanites that inhabited Zephath, and utterly destroyed it, and called the name of the city Hormah. 18 Also Judah took Azzah with the coasts thereof, and Askelon with the coasts thereof, and Ekron with the coasts thereof. 19 And the Lord was with Judah, and he possessed the mountains, for he could not drive you out the inhabitants of the valleys, because they had Shiraz of Iron. 20 And they gave Hebron to Caleb, as Moses had said, and he expelled thence the 3 sons of Anak. 21 But the children of Benjamin did not cast out the Iebusites, that inhabited Jerusalem, therefore the Iebusites dwell with the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem to this day. 22 They also that were of the house of Iasaph, went VP to Bethel, and the Lord was with them. 23 And the house of Iasaph caused to view Bethel, and the name of the city beforetime was Luz. 24 And the spies saw a man come out of the city, and they said to him, Show us, we pray thee, the way into the city, and we will shew thee mercy. 25 And when he had shewed them the way into the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword, but they let the man and all his household depart. 26 Then the man went into the land of the Hittites, and built a city, and called the name thereof Luz, which is the name thereof to this day. 27 Neither did Manasseh destroy Bethshean with her towns, nor Tanakh with her towns, nor the inhabitants of Dor with her towns, nor the inhabitants of Ibleam with her towns, neither the inhabitants of Megiddo with her towns, but the Canaanites dwelled still in that land. 28 Nevertheless when Israel was strong, they put the Canaanites to tribute, and expelled them not wholly. 29 Likewise Ephraim expelled not the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwelt in Gezer among them. 30 Neither did Zebulun expel the inhabitants of Kitron, nor the inhabitants of Nahalal, but the Canaanites dwelt among them, and became tributaries. 31 Neither did Asher cast out the inhabitants of Akko, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor of Olib, nor of Achzib, nor of Helbah, nor of Aphek, nor of Rehob. 32 But the Asherites dwelt among the Canaanites the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive you them out. 33 Neither did Naphtali drive you out the inhabitants of Beth-Shemesh, nor the inhabitants of Beth-Anath, but dwelt among the Canaanites the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless the inhabitants of Beth-Shemesh, and of Beth-Anath became tributaries to them. 34 And the Amorites drove the children of Dan into the mountain, so that they suffered them not to come down to the valley. 35 And the Ammonites dwelt still in Mount Heres and Aijalon, and in Shalbim, and when the hand of Isaph's family ruled, they became tributaries. 36 And the coast of the Amorites was from Maleakrabim, and from Selah and Pord. Chapter 2. 1 And an angel of the Lord came from Gilgal to Bochim, and said, I made you to go out of Egypt, and ha brought you to the land which I had sworn to your fathers, and said, I will ne'er break my covenant with you. 2 Ye also shall make no covenant with the inhabitants of this land, but shall break down their altars, but ye ha not obeyed my voice. Why ha ye done this? 3 Wherefore, I said also, I will not cast them out before you, but they shall be as thorns to your sides, and their gods shall be your destruction. 4 And when the angel of the Lord spake these words to all the children of Israel, the people lift their voice, and wept. 5 Therefore they called the name of that place, Bochim, and offered sacrifices there to the Lord. 6 Now when Joshua had sent the people away, the children of Israel went every man into his inheritance, to possess the land. 7 And the people had served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders that outlawed Joshua, which had seen all the great works of the Lord that he did for Israel. 8 But Joshua the son of Nun the servant of the Lord died, when he was 110 years old. 9 And they buried him in the coasts of his inheritance, in Timnath Heres in Mount Ephraim, on the north side of Mount Gash. 10 And so all that generation was gathered to their fathers, and another generation arose after them, which neither knew the Lord, nor yet the works, which he had done for Israel. 11 Then the children of Israel did wickedly in the sight of the Lord, and served Baalim. 12 And forsook ye Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, and the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed to them, and provoked the Lord to anger. 13 So they forsook the Lord, and served Baal, and Ashtaroth. 14 And the wrath of the Lord was out against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of spoilers, that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about them, so that they could no longer stand before their enemies. 15 Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was sore against them, as ye Lord had said, and as the Lord had sworn to them, so he punished them sore. 16 Notwithstanding, the Lord raised judges, which delivered them out of the hands of their oppressors. 17 But yet they would not obey their judges, for they went a-whoring after other gods, and worshipped them, and turned quickly out of the way, wherein their fathers walked, obeying the commandments of the Lord. They did not so. 18 And when the Lord had raised them judges, the Lord was with the judge, and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge, for the Lord had compassion on their groanings, because of them that oppressed them and tormented them. 19 Yet when the judge was dead, they returned, and did worse than their fathers, in following other gods to serve them and worship them. They ceased not from their own innuensions, nor from their rebellious way. 20 Wherefore the wrath of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he said, Because this people hath transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and hath not obeyed my voice. 21 Therefore will I no more cast out before them any of the nations, which Joshua left when he died. 22 That through them I may prove Israel, whether they will keep the way of the Lord, to walk therein, as their fathers kept it, or not. 23 So the Lord left those nations, and drew them not out immediately, neither delivered them into the hand of Joshua. Chapter 3. 1 These now are the nations which the Lord left, that he might prove Israel by them, and as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. 2 Only to make the generations of the children of Israel to know, and to teach them war, which doubtless their predecessors knew not. 3 Few princes of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites that dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal-Hermon till one come to Hamath. 4 And these remained to prove Israel by them, to wit, whether they would obey the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses. 5 And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. 6 And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their gods. 7 So the children of Israel did wickedly in the sight of the Lord, and forgate the Lord their God, and served Baalim, and Ashtaroth. 8 Therefore the wrath of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of Chushan-Rishathaim king of Aram-Naharaim, and the children of Israel served Chushan-Rishathaim 8 years. 9 And when the children of Israel cried to the Lord, the Lord stirred VP as Saur to ye children of Israel, and he sowed them, you and Othniel the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. 10 And the spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he judged Israel, and went out to war, and the Lord delivered Chushan-Rishathaim king of Aram into his hand, and his hand prowled against Chushan-Rishathaim. 11 So the land had rest 4 years, and Othniel the son of Kenaz died. 12 Then the children of Israel again committed wickedness in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord strengthened Eglon king of Moab against Israel, because they had committed wickedness before the Lord. 13 And he gathered to him the children of Ammon, and Amalek, and went and smote Israel, and they possessed the city of palm trees. 14 So the children of Israel served Eglon king of Moab 18 years. 15 But when the children of Israel cried to the Lord stirred them. VP as Saur, Ehud the son of Gera the son of Iamani, a man lame of his right hand. And the children of Israel sent a present by him to Eglon king of Moab. 16 And Ehud made him a dagger with 2 edges of a cubit length, and he did gird it bender his raiment upon his right thigh. 17 And he presented ye gift to Eglon king of Moab, and Eglon was a very fat man. 18 And when he had now presented the present, he sent away the people that bare ye present. 19 But he turned again from the chorus, that were by Gilgal, and said, I ha a secret errand to thee, O king. Who said, Keep silence, and all that stood about him, went out from him. 20 Then Ehud came to him, and he sate alone in a summer parlor, which he had, and Ehud said, I ha a message to thee from God. Then he arose out of his throne. 21 And Ehud put forth his left hand, and took the dagger from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. 22 So that the haft went in after the blade, and the fat closed about the blade, so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, but the dirt came out. 23 Then Ehud gave him out into the porch, and shut the doors of the parlor upon him, and locked them. 24 And when he was gone out, his Sarawantes came, who seeing that the doors of the parlor were locked, they said, Surely he doeth his easement in his summer chamber. 25 And they tarried till they were ashamed, and seeing he opened not the doors of the parlor, they took the key, and opened them, and behold, their lord was fallen dead on the earth. 26 So Ehud escaped, while they tarried, and was past the chorus, and escaped to Sirah. 27 And when he came home, he blew a trumpet in Mount Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mountain, and he went before them. 28 Then said he to them, Follow me, for the Lord hath delivered your enemies, you and Moab, into your hand. So they went down after him, and took the passages of Iordan toward Moab, and suffered not a man to pass Our. 29 And they slew of the Moabites the same time about 10,000 men, all fed men, and all were warriors, and there escaped not a man. 30 So Moab was subdued that day, bender the hand of Israel, and the land had rest 80 years. 31 And after him was Shamgar the son of Anath, which slew of the Philistines 600 men with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. Chapter 4 1 And the children of Israel began again to do wickedly in the sight of the Lord when Ehud was dead. 2 And the Lord sold them into the hand of Iabin king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, whose chief captain was called Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles. 3 Then the children of Israel cried to the Lord, for he had 900 sheres of iron, and 20 years he had vexed the children of Israel very sore, for and at that time Deborah a prophetess the wife of Lapidoth judged Israel. 5 And this Deborah dwelt vender a palm tree, between Ramah and Bethel and Mount Ephraim, and the children of Israel came VP to her for iagement. 6 Then she sent and called Barak the son of Abinoam out of Kadesh of Naphtali, and said to him, Hath not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go, and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and of the children of Zebulun? 7 And I will draw to thee to the Reuer Kishon Sisera, the captain of Iabin's army with his sheres, and his multitude, and will deliver him into thine hand. 8 And Barak said to her, If thou wilt go with me, I will go, but if thou wilt not go with me, I will not go. 9 Then she answered, I will surely go with thee, but this irony that thou takest, shall not be for thine honor, for the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. 10 And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went VP on his feet with 10,000 men, and Deborah went VP with him. 11 Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab the father-in-law of Moses, was departed from the Kenite, and pitched his tent till the plain of Zanaim, which is by Kadesh. 12 Then they shewed Sisera that Barak the son of Abinoam was gone VP to Mount Tabor. 13 And Sisera called for all his Shirais, 900 Shirais of Iran, and all the people that were with him from Harosheth of the Gentiles, to the Reuel Kishon. 14 Then Deborah said to Barak, VP, for this is the day that the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. 15 And the Lord destroyed Sisera and all his Shirais, and all his host with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot, and fled away on his feet. 16 But Barak pursued after the Shirais, and after the host to Harosheth of the Gentiles, and all the host of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword. There was not a man left. 17 Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Iel the wife of Heber the Kenite, for peace was between Iabin the king of Hazor, and between the house of Heber the Kenite. 18 And Iel went out to meet Sisera, and said to him, Turn in, my lord, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned into her tent, she covered him with a mantle. 19 And he said to her, Jimmy, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk, and gave him drink, and covered him. 20 Again he said to her, Stand in the door of the tent, and when any man doth come and inquire of thee, saying, Is any man there? Thou shalt say, Nay. 21 Then Iel Heber's wife took a nail of the tent, and took an hammer in her hand, and went softly to him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, and so he died. 22 And behold, as Barak pursued after Sisera, Iel came out to meet him, and said to him, Come, and I will show thee the man, whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail in his temples. 23 So God brought down Iabin the king of Canaan that day before the children of Israel. 24 And the hand of the children of Israel prospered, and prowled against Iabin the king of Canaan, till they had destroyed Iabin king of Canaan. Chapter 5 1 Then sang Deborah, and Barak the son of Abinoam the same day, saying, Praise ye the Lord for the awning of Israel, and for the people that offered themselves willingly. 3 Hear, ye kings, hearken ye princes, you and I will sing to the Lord, I will sing praise to the Lord God of Israel. 4 Lord, when thou wentest out of Seir, when thou departedst out of the field of Edom, the earth trembled, and the Hollands rained, the clouds also dropped water. 5 The mountains melted before the Lord, as did that Sinai before the Lord God of Israel. 6 In the days of Shamgar the son of Anath, in the days of Iel the highways were unoccupied, and the travellers walked through by ways. 7 The towns were not inhabited, they decayed, I say, in Israel, till I Deborah came VP, which rose VP a mother in Israel. 8 They chose new gods, then was war in the gates. Was there a shield or spear seen among 40,000 of Israel? 9 Mine heart is set on the governors of Israel, and on them that are willing among the people. Praise ye the Lord. 10 Speak ye that ride on white asses, ye that dwell by Middin, and that walk by the way. 11 For the noise of the archers appeased among the drawers of water, there shall they rehearse the righteousness of the Lord, his righteousness of his towns in Israel. Then did the people of the Lord go down to the gates. 12 VP Deborah, VP, arise, and sing a song, arise Barak, and lead thy captivity capshu, thou son of Abinoam. 13 For they that remain, ha dominio ouer the mighty of the people, the Lord hath given me dominion ouer the strong. 14 Of Ephraim their root arose against Amalek, and after thee, Benjamin shall fight against thy people, O Amalek. Of Machir came rulers, and of Zebulun they that handled the pen of the writer. 15 And the princes of Issachar were with Deborah, and Issachar, and also Barak, he was set on his feet in the valley, for the divisions of Reuben were great thoughts of heart. 16 Why abodest thou among the sheepfolds, to hear the bleatings of the flocks? For the divisions of Reuben were great thoughts of heart. 17 Gilead abode beyond Iordan, and why doeth Dan remain in ships? Asher sate on the sea Shoar, and tarried in his decayed places. 18 But the people of Zebulun and Naphtali ha iapard their loos to the death in the high places of the field. 19 The kings came and fought, then fought the kings of Canaan and Tanakh by the waters of Megiddo, they received no gain of money. 20 They fought from Hoan, you and the stars in their courses fought against Sisera. 21 The Reuel Kishon sweep them away, that ancient Reuer the Reuer Kishan. O my soul, thou hast marched valiantly. 22 Then were the horsehows broken with the oft beating together of their mighty men. 23 Curse ye Meroz, said the angel of the Lord, curse the inhabitants thereof, because they came not to help the Lord against the mighty. 24 Iel the wife of Heber the Kenite shall be blessed above other women, blessed shall she be above women dwelling in tents. 25 He asked water, and she gave him milk, she brought forth butter in a lordly dish. 26 She put her hand to the nail, and her right hand to the workman's hammer, with the hammer smote she Sisera, she smote off his head, after she had wounded, and pierced his temples. 27 He bowed him down at her feet, he fell down, and lay still, at her feet he bowed him down, and fell, and when he had sunk down, he lay there dead. 28 The mother of Sisera looked out at a window, and cried Thoro the Latess, why is his chariot so long a coming? Why tarry the wheels of his charrettes? 29 Her wise ladies answered her, yea. She answered herself with her own words. 30 Ha they not gotten, and they do hide the spoil? Uri man hath a maid or two. Sisera hath a prey of Dior's colored garments, a prey of sundry colors made of needlework, of Dior's colors of needlework on both sides, for the chief of the spoil. 31 So let all thine enemies perish, O Lord, but they that love him, shall be as the sun when he riseth in his might, and the land had rest 40 years. Chapter 6 1 Afterward the children of Israel committed wickedness in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord gave them into the hands of Midian 2 And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel, and because of the Midianites the children of Israel made them denies in the mountains, and cause, and strongholds. 3 When Israel had sown, then came the Midianites, the Amalekites, and they of the east, and came upon them for encamped by them, and destroyed the fruit of the earth, you until thou come to Azza, and left no foot for Israel, neither sheep, nor ox, nor ass. 5 For they went and their cattle, and came with their tents as grasshoppers in multitude, so that they and their camels were without number, and they came into the land to destroy it. 6 So was Israel exceedingly impoverished by the Midianites. Therefore the children of Israel cried to the Lord. 7 And when the children of Israel cried to the Lord because of the Midianites, the Lord sent to the children of Israel a prophet, who said to them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I ha brought you from Egypt, and ha brought you out of the house of bondage. 9 And I ha delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of all that oppressed you, and ha cast them out before you, and join you their land. 10 And I say to you, I am the Lord your God, fear not the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell, but ye ha not obeyed my voice. 11 And the angel of the Lord came, and sate bender the oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained to Iosh the father of the Israelites, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress, to hide it from the Midianites. 12 Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him, and said to him, The Lord is with thee, thou valiant man. 13 To whom Gideon answered, O my Lord, if the Lord be with Versus, why then is all this come upon Versus? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told of Versus of, and said, Did not the Lord bring Versus out of Egypt? But now the Lord hath forsaken Versus, and delivered Versus into the hand of the Midianites. 14 And the Lord looked upon him, and said, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt saw Israel out of the hands of the Midianites, ha not I sent thee? 15 And he answered him, O my Lord, whereby shall I saw Israel? Behold, my father is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. 16 Then the Lord said to him, I will therefore be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites, as one man. 17 And he answered him, I pray thee, if I ha found favour in thy sight, then shew me a sign, that thou talkest with me. 18 Depart not hence, I pray thee, till I come to thee, and bring mine offering, and lay it before thee. And he said, I will tarry till thou come again. 19 Then Gideon went in, and made ready a kiddah, and leavened bread of an ephah of flour, and put the flesh in a basket, and put the broth in a pot, and brought it out to him bender the oak, and presented it. 20 And the angel of God said to him, Take the flesh and the leavened bread, and lay them upon this stone, and pour out the broth. And he did so. 21 Then the angel of the Lord put forth the end of the staff that he had in his hand, and touched the flesh and the leavened bread, and there arose fire out of the stone, and consumed the flesh and the leavened bread. So the angel of the Lord departed out of his sight. 22 And when Gideon perceived that it was an angel of the Lord, Gideon then said, Alas, my Lord God, For because I ha seen an angel of the Lord face to face, I shall die. 23 And the Lord said to him, Peace be to thee, fear not, thou shalt not die. 24 Then Gideon made an altar there to the Lord, and called it, Yahuwah Shalom, and to this day it is an Ophrah, of the father of the Israelites. 25 And the same night the Lord said to him, Take thy father's young bullock, and an other bullock of 7 years old, and destroy the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the gruy that is by it. 26 And build an altar to the Lord thy God upon the top of this rock, in a plain place, and take the second bullock, and offer a burnt offering with the wood of the gruy, which thou shalt cut down. 27 Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants, and did as ye Lord bade him, but because he feared to do it by day for his father's household, and the men of the city, he did it by night. 28 And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was broken, and the gruy cut down that was by it, and the second bullock offered upon the altar that was made. 29 Therefore they said one to another, Who hath done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon the son of Iosh hath done this thing. 30 Then the men of the city said to Iosh, Bring out thy son, that he may die, for he hath destroyed the altar of Baal, and hath also cut down the gruy that was by it. 31 And Iosh said to all that stood by him, Will ye plead Baal's cause? Or will ye saw him? He that will contend for him, let him die or the morning. If he be God, let him plead for himself against him that hath cast down his altar. 32 And in that day was Gideon called Jerubbaal, that is, let Baal plead for himself because he hath broken down his altar. 33 Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and they of ye east, were gathered together. Aud went and pitched in the valley of Israel. 34 But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was ironed with him. 35 And he sent messengers Thorowat Manasseh, which also was ironed with him, and he sent messengers to Asher, and to Zebulun and to Naphtali, and they came to meet them. 36 Then Gideon said to God, If thou wilt saw Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. 37 Behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the threshing place, if the dew come on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth, then shall I be sure, that thou wilt saw Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. 38 And so it was, for he rose early on the morrow, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, and filled a bowl of water. 39 Again, Gideon said to God, Be not angry with me, that I may speak once more, let me prove once again, I pray thee, with the fleece, let it now be dry one leap on the fleece, and let it be upon all the ground. 40 And God did so that same night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. Chapter 7 1 Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, rose early, and all the people that were with him, and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites was on the north side of them in the valley by the hill of More. 2 And the Lord said to Gideon, The people that are with thee are too many for me to do the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel make their vaunt against me, and say, Mine hand hath sowed me. 3 Now therefore proclaim in the audience of the people, and say, Whoso is timorous or fearful, let him return, and depart eerily from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people which were at Mount Gilead 22,000, so 10,000 remained. 4 And the Lord said to Gideon, The people are yet too many, bring them down to the water, and I will try them for thee there, and of whom I say to thee, This man shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee, and of whomsoever I say to thee, This man shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. 5 So he brought down the people to the water. And the Lord said to Gideon, As many as lap the water with their tongues, as a dog lappeth, them put by themselves, and Uri one that shall bow down his knees to drink, put apart. 6 And the number of them that lapped by putting their hands to their mouths, were 300 men, but all the remnant of the people kneeled down upon their knees to drink water. 7 Then the Lord said to Gideon, By these 300 men that lapped, will I saw you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go. Uri man to his place. 8 So the people took vitails with them, and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, Uri man to his tent, and retained the 300 men, and the host of Midian was beneath him in a valley. 9 And the same night the Lord said to him, Arise, get thee down to the host, for I ha delivered it into thine hand. 10 But if thou fear to go down, then go thou, and fewer thy servant down to the host. 11 And thou shalt hearken what they say, and so shall thine hands be strong to go down to the host. Then went he down and Phurah his servant to the outside of the soldiers that were in the host. 12 And the Midianites, and the Amalekites and all they of the east, lay in the valley like grasshoppers in multitude, and their camels were without number, as the sandy which is by the seaside for multitude. 13 And when Gideon was come, behold, a man told a dream to his neighbor, and said, Behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled from Abu into the host of Midian, and came to a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it, that the tent fell down. 14 And his fellow answered, and said, This is nothing else saw the sword of Gideon the son of Aiosh man of Israel, for into his hand hath God delivered Midian and all the host. 15 When Gideon heard the dream told, and the interpretation of the same, he worshipped, and returned to the host of Israel, and said, VP, for the Lord hath delivered into your hand the host of Midian. 16 And he divided the 300 men into 3 bands, and gave Uri man a trumpet in his hand with empty pitchers, and lampies within the pitchers. 17 And he said to them, Look on me, and do likewise, when I come to the side of the host, you and as I do, so do you. 18 When I blow with a trumpet and all that are with me, blow ye with trumpets also on Uri's side of the host, and say, For the Lord, and for Gideon. 19 So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him, came to the outside of the host, in the beginning of the middle watch, and they raised VP the watchmen, and they blew with their trumpets, and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. 20 And the 3 companies blew with trumpets and brake the pitchers, and held the lampies in their left hands, and the trumpets in their right hands to blow withal, and they cried, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. 21 And they stood, Uri man in his place round about the host, and all the host ran, and cried, and fled. 22 And the 300 blew with trumpets, and the Lord set Uri man's sword upon his neighbor, and upon all the host, so the host fled to Beth-hashitah in Zererah, and to the border of Abel-meholah, to Tabbath. 23 Then the men of Israel being gathered together out of Naphtali, and out of Asher, and out of all Manasseh, pursued after the Midianites. 24 And Gideon sent messengers to all Mount Ephraim, saying, Come down against the Midianites, and take before them the waters to Beth-barah, and Iordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered together and took the waters to Beth-barah, and Iordan. 25 And they took 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and slew Zeb at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued the Midianites, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon beyond Iordan. Chapter 8 1 Then the men of Ephraim said to him, Why hast thou served versus thus that thou calledst versus not, when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites? And they chode with him sharply. 2 To whom he said, What ha I now done in comparison of you? Is not the gleaning of grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer? 3 God hath delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb, and what was I able to do in comparison of you? And when he had thus spoken, then their spirits abated toward him. 4 And Gideon came to Iordan to Passai Our, he, and the 300 men that were with him, weary, yet pursuing them. 5 And he said to the men of Succoth, Jew, I pray you, morsels of bread to the people that follow me, for they be weary, that I may follow after Zebah and Zalmunna kings of Midian. 6 And the princes of Succoth said, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thine hands, that we should jew bread to thine army? 7 Gideon then said, Therefore when the Lord hath delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into mine hand, I will tear your flesh with thorns of the wilderness and with briers. 8 And he went VP thence to Peniel, and spake to them likewise, and the men of Peniel answered him, as the men of Succoth answered. 9 And he said also to the men of Peniel, When I come again in peace, I will break down this tor. 10 Now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor, and their hosts with them, about 15,000, all that were left of all the hosts of them of the east, for there was slain 120,000 men, that drew swords. 11 And Gideon went through them that dwelt in tabernacles on the east side of Nobah and Iogbahah, and smote the host, for the host was careless. 12 And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he followed after them, and took the 2 kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the host. 13 So Gideon the son of Aiosh returned from Bat-tel, the sun being yet high. 14 And took a servant of the me of Succoth, and inquired of him, and he wrote to him the princes of Succos and the elders thereof, Un Suanti and Suan men. 15 And he came to the men of Succos, and said, Behold Zebah and Zalmunna, by whom ye braided me, saying, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna already in thine hands, that we should jew bread to thy weary men? 16 Then he took the elders of the city, and thorns of the wilderness and briers, and did tear the men of Succos with them. 17 Also he brake down the Tor of Peniel, and slew the men of the city. 18 Then said he to Zebah and Zalmunna, What manner of men were they, whom ye slew at Tabor? And they answered, As thou art, so were they. Uri one was like the children of a king. 19 And he said, They were my brethren, you and my mother's children, as the Lord lueth, if ye had sowed their loos, I would not slay you. 20 Then he said to Ether his firstborn son, VP, and slay them, but the boy drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet young. 21 Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, Rise thou, and fall upon Versus, for as the man is, so is his strength. And Gideon arose and slew Zebah and Zalmunna, and took away the ornaments that were on their camels' necks. 22 Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, Reign thou, O Uer Versus, both thou, and thy son, and thy son's son, for thou hast delivered Versus out of the hand of Midian. 23 And Gideon said to them, I will not reign, O Uer you, neither shall my child reign, O Uer you, but the Lord shall reign, O Uer you. 24 Again Gideon said to them, I would desire a request of you, that you would jew me Uri man the earrings of his prey, for they had golden earrings because they were Ismaelites. 25 And they answered, We will jew them. And they spread a garment, and did cast therein Uri man the earrings of his prey. 26 And the weight of the golden earrings that he required, was 1,700 shekels of gold, beside collars, and ewels, and purple raiment that was on the kings of Midian, and beside the chains that were about their camels' necks. 27 And Gideon made an ephod thereof, and put it in Ophrah his city, and all Israel went a whoring thereafter it, which was the destruction of Gideon and his house. 28 Thus was Midian brought low before the children of Israel, so that they lift their heads no more. And the count Ray was in quietance 40 years in the days of Gideon. 29 Then Jerubbaal the son of Iosh went, and dwelt in his own house. 30 And Gideon had 70 sons begotten of his body, for he had many wives. 31 And his concubine that was in Shechem, bare him a son also, whose name he called Abimelech. 32 So Gideon the son of Iosh died in a good age, and was buried in the sepulchre of Iosh his father in Ophrah, of the father of ye Israelites. 33 But when Gideon was dead, the children of Israel turned away and went a whoring after Baalim, and made Baalberith their god. 34 And the children of Israel remembered not the Lord their God, which had delivered thee out of the hands of all their enemies on Uri's side. 35 Neither shewed they mercy on the house of Jerubbaal, or Gideon, according to all the goodness which he had shewed to Israel. Chapter 9 1 Then Abimelech the son of Jerubbaal went to Shechem to his mother's brethren, and communed with them, and with all the family, and house of his mother's father, saying to say, I pray you, in the audience of all the men of Shechem, whether is better for you, that all the sons of Jerubbaal, which are 70 persons, reign o you, either that one reign o you. Remember also, that I am your bone, and your flesh. 3 Then his mother's brethren spake of him in the audience of all the men of Shechem, all these words, and their hearts were moved to follow Abimelech, for said they, He is our brother. 4 And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baalberith, wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light fellows which followed him. 5 And he went to his father's house at Ophrah, and slew his brethren, the sons of Jerubbaal, about 70 persons upon one stone, yet Iotham the youngest son of Jerubbaal was left, for he hid himself. 6 And all the men of Shechem gathered together with all the house of Millo, and came and made Abimelech king in the plain, where the stone was erected in Shechem. 7 And when they told it to Iotham, he went and stood in the top of Mount Gerizim, and lifted his voice, and cried, and said to them, Hearken to me, you men of Shechem, that God may hearken to you. 8 The trees went forth to anoint King Ouer them, and said to the olive tree, Reign thou Ouer. Verses 9 But the olive tree said to them, Should I low my fans, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to adjuance me above ye trees? 10 Then the trees said to the fig tree, Come thou, and be king Ouer. Verses 11 But the fig tree answered them, Should I forsake my sweetness, and my good fruit, and go to adjuance me above the trees? 12 Then said the trees to the vine, Come thou, and be king Ouer verses 13. But the vine said to them, should I low my wine, whereby I char God and man, and go to adjuance me above the trees? 14. Then said all the trees to the bramble, come thou, and reign Ouer verses 15. And the bramble said to the trees, if you will indeed anoint me king Ouer, you, come, and put your trust under my shadow, and if not, the fire shall come out of the bramble, and consume the cedars of Lebanon. 16. Now therefore, if ye do truly and corruptly to make Abimelech king, and if ye ha dealt well with Jerubbaal and with his house, and ha done to him according to the desarruing of his hands. 17. For my father fought for you, and aduentured his life, and delivered you out of the hands of Midian. 18. And ye are risen vp against my father's house this day, and ha slain his children, about 70 persons upon one stone, and ha made Abimelech the son of his maid Sereunt, king Ouer the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. 19. If ye then ha dealt truly and purely with Jerubbaal, and with his house this day, then rejoice with you. 20. But if not, let a fire come out from Abimelech, and consume the men of Shechem and the house of Millo, also let a fire come forth from the men of Shechem, and from the house of Millo, and consume Abimelech. 21. And Iotham ran away, and fled, and went to Beer, and dwelt there for fear of Abimelech his brother. 22. So Abimelech reigned 3 years Ouer Israel. 23. But God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech, and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem brake their promise to Abimelech. 24. That the cruel tie toward the 70 sons of Jerubbaal and their blood might come and be laid upon Abimelech their brother, which had slain them, and upon the men of Shechem, which had aided him to kill his brethren. 25. So the men of Shechem set men in wait for him in the tops of the mountains, who robbed all that passed that way by them, and it was told to Abimelech. 26. Then Gaal the son of Abad came with his brethren, and they went to Shechem, and the men of Shechem put their confidence in him. 27. Therefore they went out into the field, and gathered in their grapes and trode them, and made merry, and went into the house of their gods, and did eat and drink, and cursed Abimelech. 28. Then Gaal the son of Abad said, who is Abimelech? And who is Shechem, that we should seru him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal? And Zebul is his officer? Seru rather the men of Hamor the father of Shechem, for why should we seru him? 29. Now would God this people were under mine hand, then would I put away Abimelech. And he said to Abimelech, increase thine army, and come out. 30. And when Zebul the ruler of the city heard the words of Gaal the son of Abad, his wrath was kindled. 31. Therefore he sent messengers to Abimelech privily, saying, behold, Gaal the son of Abad and his brethren be come to Shechem, and behold, they fortify the city against thee. 32. Now therefore arise by night, thou and the people that is with thee, and lie in wait in the field of. 33. And rise early in the morning as soon as the sun is vp, and assault the city. And when he and the people that is with him shall come out against thee, do to him what thou canst. 34. So Abimelech rose vp, and all the people that were with him by night, and they lay in wait against Shechem in 4 bands. 35. Then Gaal the son of Abad went out and stood in the entree of the gate of the city, and Abimelech rose vp, and the folky that were with him, from lying in wait. 36. And when Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, behold, there come people down from the tops of the mountains. And Zebul said to him, the shadow of the mountains see me men to thee. 37. And Gaal spake again, and said, see, there come folky down by the middle of the land, and another band cometh by the way of the plain of Meonenim. 38. Then said Zebul to him, where is now thy mouth, that said, who is Abimelech, that we should seru him? Is not this the people that thou hast despised? Go out now, I pray thee, and fight with them. 39. And Gaal went out before the men of Shechem, and fought with Abimelech. 40. But Abimelech pursued him, and he fled before him, and many were overthrown and wounded, even to the entree of the gate. 41. And Abimelech dwelt at Arumah, and Zebul thrust out Gaal and his brethren that they should not dwell in Shechem. 42. And on the morrow, the people went out into the fieldah, which was told to Abimelech. 43. And he took the people, and divided them into 3 bands, and laid wait in the fields, and looked, and behold, the people were come out of the city, and he rose vp against them, and smote them. 44. And Abimelech, and the bands that were with him, rushed forward, and stood in the entree of the gate of the city, and the 2 other bands ran upon all the people that were in the fieldah and slew them. 45. And when Abimelech had fought against the city all that day, he took the city, and slew the people that was therein, and destroyed the city and sowed salt in it. 46 And when all the men of the Tor of Shechem heard it, they entreated into an hold of the house of the god Berith. 47 And it was told Abimelech, that all the men of the Tor of Shechem were gathered together. 48 And Abimelech gave him VP to Mount Zalmon, he and all the people that were with him, and Abimelech took axes with him, and cut down boughs of trees, and took them, and bare them on his shoulder, and said unto the folkie that were with him, What ye ha seen me do, make haste, and do like me. 49 Then all the people also cut down Uri man his bow, and followed Abimelech, and put them to the hold, and set the hold on fire with them. So all the men of the Tor of Shechem died also, about 1,000 men and women. 50 Then went Abimelech to Tabez, and besieged Tabez, and took it. 51 But there was a strong Tor within the city, and thither fled all the men and women, and all the chief of the city, and shut it to them, and went VP to the top of the Tor. 52 And Abimelech came to the Tor and fought against it, and went hard to the door of the Tor to set it on fire. 53 But a certain woman cast a piece of a millstone upon Abimelech's head, and brake his brain pan. 54 Then Abimelech called hastily his page that bare his harnius, and said to him, Draw thy sword and slay me, that men say not of me, a woman slew him. And his page thrust him thorough, and he died. 55 And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed Uri man to his own place. 56 Thus God rendered the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did to his father, in slaying his soonty brethren. 57 Also all the wickedness of the men of Shechem did God bring upon their heads. So upon them came the curse of Iotham the son of Jerubbaal. Chapter 10 One After Abimelech there arose to defend Israel, Tola, the son of Puah, the son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, which dwelt in Shamir in Mount Ephraim. 2 And he judged Israel 23 years and died, and was buried in Shamir. 3 And after him arose Jair a Gileadite, and judged Israel 22 years. 4 And he had 30 sons that rode on 30 ascolts, and they had 30 cities, which are called Hawoth-Yair to this day, and are in the land of Gilead. 5 And Jair died, and was buried in Canaan. 6 And the children of Israel wrought wickedness again in the sight of the Lord, and served Baalim and Ashtaroth, and the gods of Aram, and the gods of Zidon, and the gods of Moab, and the gods of the children of Ammon, and the gods of the Philistines, and forsook the Lord and served not him. 7 Therefore the wrath of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines, and into the hands of the children of Ammon. 8 Who from that year vexed and oppressed the children of Israel 18 years, you and all the children of Israel that were beyond Iordan, in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead. 9 Moreover, the children of Ammon went Our Iordan to fight against Judah, and against Benjamin, and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was sore tormented. 10 Then the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, saying, We ha sinned against thee, and because we ha forsaken our own God, and ha served Baalim. 11 And the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Did not I deliver you from the Egyptians and from the Amorites, from the children of Ammon and from the Philistines? 12 The Zidonians also, and the Amalekites, and the Maonites did oppress you, and ye cried to me and I saved you out of their hands. 13 Yet ye ha forsaken me, and served other gods, wherefore I will deliver you no more. 14 Go, and cry to the gods which ye ha chosen, let them saw you in the time of your tribulation. 15 And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, We ha sinned, do thou to versus whatsoever please thee, only we pray thee to deliver versus this day. 16 Then they put away the strange gods from among them and served the Lord. And his soul was grieved for the misery of Israel. 17 Then the children of Ammon gathered themselves together, and pitched in Gilead, and the children of Israel assembled themselves, and pitched in Mizpeh. 18 And the people and princes of Gilead said one to another, Whosoever will begin the battle against the children of Ammon, the same shall behead all the inhabitants of Gilead. Chapter 11 1 Then Gilead begat Iphtah, and Iphtah the Gileadite was a valiant man, but the son of an harlot. 2 And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and when the woman's children were come to age, they thrust out Iphtah, and said to him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. 3 Then Iphtah fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob, and there gathered idle fellows to Iphtah, and went out with him. 4 And in process of time the children of Ammon made war with Israel. 5 And when the children of Ammon fought with Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fed Ifta out of the land of Tob. 6 And they said to Ifta, Come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. 7 Ifta then answered the elders of Gilead, Did not ye hate me, and expel me out of my father's house? How then come you to me now in time of your tribulation? 8 Then the elders of Gilead said to Ifta, Therefore we turn again to thee now, that thou mayest go with Versus, and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head. Our all the inhabitants of Gilead. 9 And Ifta said to the elders of Gilead, If ye bring me home again to fight against the children of Ammon, if the Lord gie them before me, shall I be your head? 10 And the elders of Gilead said to Ifta, The Lord be witness between Versus, if we do not according to thy words. 11 Then Ifta went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and captain over them, and Ifta rehearsed all his words before the Lord in Mizpeh. 12 Then Ifta sent messengers to the king of the children of Ammon, saying, What hast thou to do with me, that thou art come against me, to fight in my land? 13 And the king of the children of Ammon answered to the messengers of Ifta, Because Israel took my land, when they came from Egypt, from Arnon to Iabok, and to Iordan, now therefore restore those lands quietly. 14 Yet Ifta sent messengers again to the king of the children of Ammon. 15 And said to him, Thus saith Ifta, Israel took not the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. 16 But when Israel came from Egypt, and walked through the wilderness to the Red Sea, then they came to Kadesh. 17 And Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, Let me, I pray thee, go thorough thy land, but the king of Edom would not consent, and also they sent to the king of Moab, but he would not, therefore Israel abode in Kadesh. 18 Then they went through the wilderness, and compassed the land of Edom, and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab, and pitched on the other side of Arnon, and came not within the coast of Moab, for Arnon was the border of Moab. 19 Also Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon, and Israel said to him, Let Versus pass, we pray thee, by thy land to our place. 20 But Sihon consented not to Israel, that he should go through his coast. But Sihon gathered all his people together, and pitched in Iahaz, and fought with Israel. 21 And the Lord God of Israel gave Sihon and all his folky into the hands of Israel, and they smote them. So Israel possessed all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that count. 22 And they possessed all the coast of the Amorites, from Arnon to Iabok, and from the wilderness Uan to Iordan. 23 Now therefore the Lord God of Israel hath cast out the Amorites before his people Israel, and shouldest thou possess it? 24 Wouldest not thou possess that which Chemosh thy God jeweth thee to possess? So whomsoever the Lord our God drive out before Versus, then will we possess. 25 And art thou now far better than Balak the son of Zippor king of Moab? Did he not strive with Israel and fight against them? 26 When Israel dwelt in Heshbon and in her towns, and in Aroer and in her towns, and in all the cities that are by the coasts of Arnon, 300 years? Why did ye not then recur them in that space? 27 Wherefore, I ha not offended thee, but thou doest me wrong to war against me. The Lord the Yedge be Yedge this day between the children of Israel, and the children of Ammon. 28 Howbeit the king of the children of Ammon hearkened not to the words of Ifta, which he had sent him. 29 Then the spirit of the Lord came upon Ifta, and he passed Ouer to Gilead and to Manasseh, and came to Mizpeh in Gilead, and from Mizpeh in Gilead he went to the children of Ammon. 30 And Ifta vowed a vow to the Lord, and said, If thou shalt deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands. 31 Then that thing that cometh out of the doors of mine house to meet me, when I come home in peace from the children of Ammon, shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it for a burnt offering. 32 And so Ifta went to the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. 33 And he smote them from Aroer Uan till thou come to Minnith, 20 cities, and so forth to Abel of the vineyards, with an exceeding great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were humbled before the children of Israel. 34 Now when Ifta came to Mizpeh to his house, behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and dances, which was his only child, he had none other son, nor daughter. 35 And when he saw her, he rent his clothes, and said, Alas my daughter, thou hast brought me low, and art of them that trouble me, for I ha opened my mouth to the Lord, and cannot go back. 36 And she said to him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth to the Lord, Go with me as thou hast promised, seeing that the Lord hath on thee of thine enemies the children of Ammon. 37 Also she said to her father, Do thus much for me, suffer me 2 months, that I may go to the mountains, and bewail my virginity, I and my fellows. 38 And he said, Go, and he sent her away 2 months, so she went with her companions, and lamented her virginity upon the mountains. 39 And after the end of 2 months, she turned again to her father, who did with her according to his vow which he had vowed, and she had known no man. And it was a custom in Israel, 40 the daughters of Israel went year by year to lament the daughter of Iphtah the Gileadite, 4 days in a year. Chapter 12. 1 And the me of Ephraim gathered themselves together, and went northward, and said to Iphtah, Wherefore wentest thou to fight against the children of Ammon, and didst not call Versus to go with thee? We will therefore burn thine house upon thee with fire. 2 And Iphtah said to them, I and my people were at great strife with the children of Ammon, and when I called you, ye delivered me not out of their hands. 3 So when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in mine hands, and went upon the children of Ammon, so the Lord delivered them into mine hands. Wherefore then are ye come upon me now to fight against me? For then Iphtah gathered all the men of Gilead, and fought with Ephraim, and the men of Gilead smote Ephraim, because they said, Ye Gileadites are renegades of Ephraim among the Ephraimites, and among the Manassites. 5 Also the Gileadites took the passages of Iordan before the Ephraimites, and when the Ephraimites that were escaped, said, Let me pass, then the men of Gilead said to him, Art thou an Ephraimite? If he said, Nay. 6 Then said they to him, Say now Shibboleth. And he said, Sibboleth, for he could not so pronounce. Then they took him, and slew him at the passages of Iordan, and there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 240,000. 7 And Iphtah judged Israel 6 years, then died Iphtah the Gileadite, and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. 8 After him Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel 9 who had 30 sons and 30 daughters, which he sent out, and took in 30 daughters from abroad for his sons. And he judged Israel 7 years. 10 Then Ibzan died, and was buried at Bethlehem. 11 And after him judged Israel Elon, a Zebulunite, and he judged Israel 10 years. 12 Then Elon the Zebulunite died, and was buried in Aijalon in the country of Zebulun. 13 And after him Abdon the son of Hillel the Pirathonite judged Israel. 14 And he had 40 sons and 30 nephews that rode on Sunti colts. And he judged Israel 8 years. 15 Then died Abdon the son of Hillel the Pirathonite, and was buried in Pirathon, in ye land of Ephraim, in the mount of the Amalekites. Chapter 13. 1 BVT The children of Israel continued to commit wickedness in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines 4 years. 2 Then there was a man in Zorah of the family of the Danites, named Manoah, whose wife was barren, and bare not. 3 And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman, and said to her, Behold now, thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive, and bear a son. 4 And now therefore beware that thou drink no wine, nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing. 5 For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from his birth, and he shall begin to saw Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. 6 Then the wife came, and told her husband, saying, A man of God came to me, and the fashion of him was like the fashion of the angel of God exceeding fearful. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. 7 But he said to me, Behold, thou shalt conceive, and bear a son, and now thou shalt drink no wine, nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from his birth to the day of his death. 8 Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, I pray thee, my Lord, let the man of God, whom thou sentest, come again now to Versus, and teach Versus what we shall do to the child when he is born. 9 And God heard the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the wife, as she sat in the fielda, but Manoah her husband was not with her. 10 And the wife made haste and ran, and shewed her husband and said to him, Behold, the man hath appeared to me, that came to me today. 11 And Manoah arose and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said to him, Art thou the man that spakest to the woman? And he said, Yea. 12 Then Manoah said, Now let thy saying come to pass, but how shall we order the child and do to him? 13 And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, The woman must beware of all that I said to her. 14 She may eat of nothing that cometh of the vine tree, she shall not drink wine nor strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. Let her observe all that I ha commanded her. 15 Manoah then said to the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let versus retain thee, till we ha made ready a kid for thee. 16 And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou make me abide, I will not eat of thy bread, and if thou wilt make a burnt offering, offer it unto the Lord. For Manoah knew not that it was an angel of the Lord. 17 Again Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name, that when thy saying is come to pass, we may honor thee? 18 And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, which is secret? 19 Then Manoah took a kid with a meat offering, and offered it upon a stone to the Lord, and the angel did wondrously, whiles Manoah and his wife looked on. 20 For when the flame came vp toward Hoan from the altar, the angel of the Lord ascended vp in the flame of the altar, and Manoah and his wife beheld it, and fell on their faces to the ground. 21 So the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that it was an angel of the Lord. 22 And Manoah said unto his wife, We shall surely die, because we ha seen God. 23 But his wife said to him, If the Lord would kill versus, he would not ha receive a burnt offering, and a meat offering of our hands, neither would he ha shewed versus all these things, nor would now ha told a versus any such. 24 And the wife bare a son, and called his name Samson, and the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. 25 And the Spirit of the Lord began to strengthen him in the host of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Chapter 14 1 Now Samson went down to Timnath, and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. 2 And he came vp and told his father and his mother and said, I ha seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines, now therefore give me her to wife. 3 Then his father and his mother said to him, Is there noer a wife among the daughters of thy brethren, and among all my people, that thou must go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said to his father, Give me her, for she pleaseth me well. 4 But his father and his mother knew not that it came of the Lord, that he should seek an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines reigned over Israel. 5 Then went Samson and his father and his mother down to Timnath, and came to ye vineyards at Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared upon him. 6 And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he tare him, as one should ha rend a kid, and had nothing in his hand, neither told he his father nor his mother what he had done. 7 And he went down, and talked with the woman which was beautiful in the eyes of Samson. 8 And within a few days, when he returned to receive her, he went aside to see the carcase of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees, and honey in the body of the lion. 9 And he took thereof in his hands, and went eating, and came to his father and to his mother, and gave to them, and they did eat, but he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the body of the lion. 10 So his father went down to the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so feast the young men to do. 11 And when they saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. 12 Then Samson said to them, I will now put forth a riddle to you, and if you can declare it me within 7 days of the feast, and find it out, I will gie you 30 sheets, and 30 change of garments. 13 But if you cannot declare it me, then shall ye gie me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. And they answered him, Put forth thy riddle, that we may hear it. 14 And he said to them, Out of the eater came meat, and out of the strong came sweetness, and they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. 15 And when the 7th day was come, they said to Samson's wife, Entice thine husband, that he may declare versus the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Ha ye called versus, to possess versus? Is it not so? 16 And Samson's wife wept before him, and said, Surely thou hatest me and luest me not, for thou hast put forth a riddle to the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said to her, Behold, I ha not told it my father, nor my mother, and shall I tell it thee? 17 Then Samson's wife wept before him 7 days, while their feast lasted, and when the 7th day came he told a her, because she was importunate upon him. So she told the riddle to the children of her people. 18 And the men of ye city said to him the 7th day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion? Then said he to them, If ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. 19 And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and slew 30 men of them and spoiled them, and gave change of garments to them, which expounded the riddle. and his wrath was kindled, and he went VP to his father's house. 20 Then Samson's wife was joined to his companion, whom he had vist as his friend. Chapter 15. 1 But within a while after, in the time of wheat harvest, Samson visited his wife with a kid, saying, I will go in to my wife into the chamber. But her father would not suffer him to go in. 2 And her father said, I thought that thou hadst hated her, therefore gave I her to thy companion. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of the other. 3 Then Samson said to them, Now am I more blameless than the Philistines, therefore will I do them displeasure. 4 And Samson went out, and took 300 foxes, and took firebrands, and turned them tail to tail, and put a firebrand in ye middes between two tails. 5 And when he had set the brandes on fire, he sent them out into the standing corn of the Philistines, and burnt VP both the ricks and the standing corn with the vineyards and olives. 6 Then the Philistines said, Who hath done this? And they answered, Samson the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he had taken his wife, and joined her to his companion. Then the Philistines came VP and burnt her and her father with fire. 7 And Samson said to them, Though ye ha done this, yet will I be on of you, and then I will cease. 8 So he smote them hip and thigh with a mighty plague, then he went and dwelt in the top of the rock Etam. 9 Then the Philistines came VP, and pitched in Judah, and were spread abroad in Lehi. 10 And the men of Judah said, Why are ye come VP to Versus? And they answered, To bind Samson are we come VP, and to do to him as he hath done to Versus. 11 Then 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock Etam, and said to Samson, Knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers o you Versus? Wherefore then hast thou done thus to Versus? And he answered them, As they did to me, so ha I done to them. 12 Again they said to him, We are come to bind thee, and to deliver thee into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said to them, Swear to me, that ye will not fall upon me yourselves. 13 And they answered him, saying, No, but we will bind thee and deliver thee into their hand, but we will not kill thee. And they bound him with 2 new cords, and brought him from the rock. 14 When he came to Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the spirit of the Lord came upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, for the bands loosed from his hands. 15 And he found a new iron of an assay, and put forth his hand, and caught it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. 16 Then Samson said, With the yaw of an assay are heaps upon heaps, with the yaw of an assay ha I slain 1,000 men. 17 And when he had left speaking, he cast away the iron out of his hand, and called that place Ramath Lehi. 18 And he was sore athirst, and called on the Lord, and said, Thou hast joined this great deliverance into the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die for thirst, and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised? 19 Then God brake the cheek tooth, that was in the yaw, and water came thereout, and when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he was renewed, wherefore the name thereof is called, in Hakor, which is in Lehi to this day. 20 And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. Chapter 16. 1 Then went Samson to Azah, and saw there an harlot, and went into her. 2 And it was told to the Azahites, Samson is come hither. And they went about, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the nyght, saying, Abide till the morning early, and we shall kill him. 3 And Samson slept till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gates of the city, and the 2 posts, and lift them away with the bars, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them VP to the top of the mountain that is before Hebron. 4 And after this he lewd a woman by the Reur of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. 5 To whom came the princes of the Philistines, and said to her, Entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what mean we may overcome him, that we may bind him, and punish him. And Uri one of Versus shall give thee 100 shekels of silver. 6 And Delilah said to Samson, Tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound, to do thee hurt. 7 Samson then answered to her, If they bind me with suin green cordis, that were noyer dried, then shall I be weak, and be as an other man. 8 And the princes of the Philistines brought her suin green cordis that were not dry, and she bound him therewith. 9 And she had men lying in wait with her in the chamber. Then she said to him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the cordis, as a thread of tow is broken, when it feeleth fire, so his strength was not known. 10 After Delilah said to Samson, See, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. I pray thee now, tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. 11 Then he answered her, If they bind me with new ropes that ne'er were occupied, then shall I be weak, and be as an other man. 12 Delilah therefore took new ropes, and bound him therewith, and said to him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson, and men lay in wait in the chamber, and he brake them from his arms, as a thread. 13 Afterward Delilah said to Samson, Hitherto thou hast beguiled me, and told me lies, tell me how thou mightest be bound. And he said to her, If thou plaitedst sewn locks of mine head with the thread of the wolf. 14 And she fastened it with a pin, and said to him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the webby and the wolf. 15 Again she said to him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. 16 And because she was importunate upon him with her words continually, and vexed him, his soul was pained to the death. 17 Therefore he told her all his heart, and said to her, There ne'er came razor upon mine head, for I am a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. Therefore if I be shorn, my strength will go from me, and I shall be weak, and be like all other men. 18 And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent, and called for the princes of ye Philistines, saying, Come VP once again, for he hath shewed me all his heart. Then the princes of the Philistines came VP to her, and brought the money in their hands. 19 And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called a man, and made him to shaw off the sewn locks of his head, and she began to vex him, and his strength was gone from him. 20 Then she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and thought, I will go out now as at other times, and shake myself, but he knew not that the Lord was departed from him. 21 Therefore the Philistines took him, and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Azza, and bound him with fetters, and he did grind in the prison house. 22 And the hair of his head began to grow again after that it was shorn. 23 Then the princes of the Philistines gathered them together for to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to rejoice, for they said, Our God hath delivered Samson our enemy into our hands. 24 Also when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, Our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy and destroyer of our country, which hath slain many. Of verses 25 And when their hearts were merry, they said, Call Samson, that he may make verses pastime. So they called Samson out of the prison house, and he was a laughing stock to them, and they set him between the pillars. 26 Then Samson said to the servant that led him by the hand, Lead me, that I may touch the pillars that the house standeth upon, and that I may lean to them. 27 Now the house was full of men and women, and there were all the princes of the Philistines. Also upon the roof were about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson played. 28 Then Samson called to the Lord, and said, O Lord God, I pray thee, think upon me, O God, I beseech thee, strengthen me at this time only, that I may be at once unto the Philistines for my 2 eyes. 29 And Samson laid hold on the 2 middle pillars whereupon the house stood, and on which it was borne VP, on the one with his right hand, and on the other with his left. 30 Then Samson said, Let me lose my life with the Philistines. And he bowed him with all his might, and the house fell upon the princes, and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he had slain in his life. 31 Then his brethren, and all the house of his father came down and took him, and brought him VP and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, in the sepulchre of Manoah his father. Now he had judged Israel 20 years. Chapter 17 1 There was a man of Mount Ephraim, whose name was Micah. 2 And he said to his mother, The 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from thee, for the which thou cursedst, and spakedst it, Ewan in mine hearing, behold, the silver is with me, I took it. Then his mother said, Blessed be my son of the Lord. 3 And when he had restored the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother said, I had dedicate the silver to the Lord of mine hand for my son, to make a graven and molten image. Now therefore I will do it thee again. 4 And when he had restored the money to his mother took 200 shekels of silver, and gave them to the founder, which made thereof a graven and molten image, and it was in the house of Micah. 5 And this man Micah had an house of gods, and made an ephod, and teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who was his priest. 6 In those days there was no king in Israel, but Uri man did that which was good in his own eyes. 7 There was also a young man out of Bethlehem Judah, of the family of Judah, who was a Luite, and sojourned there. 8 And the man departed out of the city, and out of Bethlehem Judah, to dwell where he could find a place, and as he journeyed, he came to Mount Ephraim to the house of Micah. 9 And Micah said to him, Whence comest thou? And the Luite answered him, I come from Bethlehem Judah, and go to dwell where I may find a place. 10 Then Micah said to him, Dwell with me, and be to me a father and a priest, and I will give thee 10 shekels of silver by year, and a suit of apparel, and thy meat and drink. So the Luite went in. 11 And the Luite was content to dwell with the man, and the young man was to him as one of his own sons. 12 And Micah consecrated the Luite, and the young man was his priest, and was in the house of Micah. 13 Then said Micah, Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, seeing I ha a Luite to my priest. Chapter 18. 1 In those days there was no king in Israel, and at the same time the tribe of Dan sought them an inheritance to dwell in, for to that time all their inheritance had not fallen to them among the tribes of Israel. 2 Therefore the children of Dan sent of their family, few men out of their coasts, and men expert in war, out of Zorah and Eshtaol, to view the land and search it out, and said to them, Go, and search out the land. Then they came to Mount Ephraim to the house of Micah and lodged there. 3 When they were in the house of Micah, they knew the voice of the young man the Luite, and being turned in thither, they said to him, Who brought thee hither? Or what makest thou in this place? And what hast thou to do here? 4 And he answered them, Thus and thus dealeth Micah with me, and hath hired me, and I am his priest. 5 Again they said to him, Ask counsel now of God, that we may know whether the way which we go shall be prosperous. 6 And the priest said to them, Go in peace, for the Lord guideth your way which ye go. 7 Then the few men departed and came to Laish, and saw the people that were therein, which dwelt careless, after the manner of the Zidonians, quiet and sure, because no man made any trouble in the land, or usurped any dominion. Also they were far from the Zidonians, and had no business with other men. 8 So they came again to their brethren to Zorah and Eshtaol, and their brethren said to them, What ha ye done? 9 And they answered, Arise, that we may go VP against them, for we ha seen the land, and surely it is very good, and do ye sit still? Be not slothful to go and enter to possess the land. 10 If ye will go, ye shall come to a careless people, and the country is large, for God hath given it into your hand. It is a place which doeth lack a nothing that is in the world. 11 Then there departed thence of the family of the Danites, from Zorah and from Eshtaol, 600 men appointed with instruments of war. 12 And they went VP, and pitched in Kiriathaim in Judah, wherefore they called that place Mahanadan to this day, and it is behind Kiriathaim. 13 And they went thence to Mount Ephraim, and came to the house of Micah. 14 Then answered the few men that went to spy out the country of Laish, and said to their brethren, Know ye not that there is in these houses an ephod, and teraphim, and a graven and a molten image? Now therefore consider what ye ha to do. 15 And they turned thitherward and came to the house of the young man the Luite, and to the house of Micah, and saluted him peaceably. 16 And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which were of the children of Dan, stood by the entreing of the gate. 17 Then the few men that went to spy out the land, went in thither, and took the graven image and the ephod, and the teraphim, and the molten image, and the priest stood in the entreing of the gate with the 600 men, that were appointed with weapons of war. 18 And the other went into Micah's house and fet the graven image, the ephod, and the teraphim, and the molten image. Then said the priest to them, What do ye? 19 And they answered him, Hold thy peace, lay thine hand upon thy mouth, and come with verses to be our father and priest. Whether is it better that thou shouldest be a priest to ye house of one man, or that thou shouldest be a priest to a tribe and to a family in Israel? 20 And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod and the teraphim, and the graven image, and went among the people. 21 And they turned and departed, and put the children, and the cattle, and the substance before them. 22 When they were far off from the house of Micah, the men that were in the houses near to Micah's house gathered together, and pursued after the children of Dan. 23 And cried to the children of Dan, who turned their faces, and said unto Micah, What aileth thee, that thou makest an outcry? 24 And he said, Ye ha taken away my gods, which I made, and the priest, and go your ways, and what ha I more? How then say ye to me, What aileth thee? 25 And the children of Dan said to him, Let not thy voice be heard among verses, lest angry fellows run upon thee, and thou lose thy life with the lose of thine household. 26 So the children of Dan went their ways, and when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned, and went back to his house. 27 And they took the things which Micah had made, and the priest which he had, and came to Laish, to a quiet people and without mistrust, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and burnt the city with fire. 28 And there was none to help, because Laish was far from Zidon, and they had no business with other men, also it was in the valley that lieth by Beth-rehob. After, they built the city, and dwelt therein. 29 And called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan their father which was born to Israel. Howbeit the name of the city was Laish at the beginning. 30 Then the children of Dan set them bp the graven image, and Ionathan the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh and his sons were the priests in the tribe of the Danites till the day of the captivity of the land. 31 So they set them bp the graven image, which Micah had made, all the while the house of God was in Shiloh. Chapter 19. 1 Also in those days, when there was no king in Israel, a certain Loite dwelt on the side of Mount Ephraim, and took to wife a concubine out of Bethlehem Judah. 2 And his concubine played ye whore there, and went away from him to her father's house to Bethlehem Judah, and there continued the space of 4 months. 3 And her husband arose and went after her, to speak friendly to her, and to bring her again. He had also his servant with him, and a couple of asses, and she brought him to her father's house. And when the young woman's father saw him, he rejoiced of his coming. 4 And his father-in-law, the young woman's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days, so they did eat and drink, and lodged there. 5 And when the 4th day came, they arose early in the morning, and he prepared to depart. Then the young woman's father said to his son-in-law, Comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and then go your way. 6 So they sate down, and did eat and drink, both of them together. And the young woman's father said to the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thine heart be merry. 7 And when the man rose vp to depart, his father-in-law was earnest, therefore he returned, and lodged there. 8 And he arose vp early the 5th day to depart, and the young woman's father said, Comfort thine heart, I pray thee, and they tarried till after midday, and they both did eat. 9 Afterward when the man arose to depart with his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the young woman's father said to him, Behold now, the day draweth toward you, I pray you, tarry all night. Behold, the sun goeth to rest, lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early upon your way, and go to thy tent. 10 But the man would not tarry, but arose and departed, and came Ouer against Jebus, which is Jerusalem, and his 2 asses laden, and his concubine were with him. 11 When they were near to Jebus, the day was sore spent, and the servant said to his master, Come, I pray thee, and let verses turn into this city of the Iabusites, and lodge all night there. 12 And his master answered him, We will not turn into the city of strangers that are not of the children of Israel, but we will go forth to Gibeah. 13 And he said to his servant, Come, and let verses draw near to one of these places, that we may lodge in Gibeah or in Ramah. 14 So they went forward upon their way, and the sun went down upon them near to Gibeah, which is in Benjamin. 15 Then they turned thither to go in and lodge in Gibeah, and when he came, he sate him down in a street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodging. 16 And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at Uan, and the man was of Mount Ephraim, but dwelt in Gibeah. And the men of the place were the children of Iemani. 17 And when he had lifted vp his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the streets of the city. Then this old man said, Whither goest thou, and whence camest thou? 18 And he answered him, We came from Bethlehem Judah, to the side of Mount Ephraim, from thence am I, and I went to Bethlehem Judah, and go now to the house of the Lord, and no man receiveth me to house. 19 Although we ha straw and pruwater for our asses, and also bread and wine for me and thine handmaid, and for the boy that is with thy servant, we lack nothing. 20 And the old man said, Peace be with thee, as for all that thou lackest, shalt thou find with me, only abide not in the street all night. 21 So he brought him into his house, and gave fodder to the asses, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. 22 And as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, wicked men, beset the house round about, and smote at the door, and spake to this old man the master of the house, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. 23 And this man the master of ye house went out to them, and said to them, Nay, my brother, do not so wickedly, I pray you, seeing that this man is come into mine house, do not this villainy. 24 Behold, here is my daughter, a virgin, and his concubine, them will I bring out now, and humble them, and do with them what seemeth you good, but to this man do not this villainy. 25 But the men would not hearken to him, therefore ye man took his concubine, and brought her out to them, and they knew her and abused her all the night to the morning, and when the day began to spring, they let her go. 26 So the woman came in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was, till the light day. 27 And her lord arose in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way, and behold, the woman his concubine was dead at the door of the house, and her hands lay upon the threshold. 28 And he said to her, VP and let versus go, but she answered not. Then he took her VP upon the assy, and the man rose VP, and went to his place. 29 And whe he was come to his house, he took a knife, and laid hand on his concubine, and doeted her in pieces with her bones into 12 parts, and sent her through all quarters of Israel. 30 And all that saw it, said, There was no such thing done or seen since the time that the children of Israel came VP from the land of Egypt to this day. Consider the matter, consult and do sentence. Chapter 20 Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man, from Dan to Beersheba, with the land of Gilead, to the Lord in Mizpeh. 2 And the chief of all the people, and all the tribes of Israel assembled in the congregation of the people of God 400,000 footmen that drew sword. 3 Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone VP to Mizpeh. Then the children of Israel said, How is this wickedness committed? 4 And the same Luite, the woman's husband that was slain, answered and said, I came to Gibeah that is in Benjamin with my concubine to lodge. 5 And the men of Gibeah arose against me, and beset the house round about upon me by night, thinking to ha slain me, and ha forced my concubine that she is dead. 6 Then I took my concubine, and cut her in pieces, and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they ha committed abomination and villainy in Israel. 7 Behold, ye are all children of Israel, do your ados, and counsel herein. 8 Then all the people arose as one man, saying, There shall not a man of versus go to his tent, neither any turn into his house. 9 But now this is that thing which we will do to Gibeah, we will go VP by lot against it. 10 And we will take 10 men of the 100th throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100th of the 1,000, and 1,000 of 10,000 to bring the tale for the people that they may do, when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the villainy that it hath done in Israel. 11 So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together, as one man. 12 And the tribes of Israel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, What wickedness is this that is committed among you? 13 Now therefore Deliah versus those wicked men which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death, and put away ill from Israel. But the children of Benjamin would not obey the voice of their brethren the children of Israel. 14 But ye children of Benjamin gathered them selus together out of the cities to Gibeah, to come out and fight against the children of Israel. 15 And ye children of Benjamin were known bred at that time out of the cities 26,000 men that drew sword, beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were known bred 100 chosen men. 16 Of all this people were 100 chosen men, being left-handed. All these could sling stones at an hair breadth, and not fail. 17 Also the men of Israel, beside Benjamin, were known bred 400,000 men that drew sword, you and all men of war. 18 And the children of Israel arose, and went VP to the house of God, and asked of God, saying, Which of verses shall go VP first to fight against the children of Benjamin? And the Lord said, Judah shall be first. 19 Then the children of Israel arose VP aerially and camped against Gibeah. 20 And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin, and the men of Israel put themselves in array to fight against the beside Gibeah. 21 And the children of Benjamin came out of Gibeah, and slid down to the ground of the Israelites that day 22,000 men. 22 And the people, the men of Israel plucked VP their hearts, and set their Batel again in Ari in the place where they put them in Ari the first day. 23 For the children of Israel had gone VP and wept before the Lord to the Uning, and had asked of the Lord, saying, Shall I go again to Batel against the children of Benjamin my brethren? And the Lord said, Go VP against them. 24 Then the children of Israel came near against the children of Benjamin the second day. 25 Also the second day Benjamin came forth to meet them out of Gibeah, and slid down to the ground of the children of Israel again 18,000 men, all they could handle the sword. 26 Then the children of Israel went VP and all the people came also to the house of God, and wept and sate there before the Lord and fasted that day to the Uning, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. 27 And the children of Israel asked the Lord, for there was the ark of the covenant of God in those days. 28 And Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it at that time, saying, Shall I yet go any more to Batel against the children of Benjamin my brethren, or shall I cease? And the Lord said, Go VP, for tomorrow I will deliver them into your hand. 29 And Israel set men to lie in wait round about Gibeah. 30 And the children of Israel went VP against the children of Benjamin the third day, and put Thessalus in Ari against Gibeah, as at other times. 31 Then the children of Benjamin coming out against the people, were drawn from the city, and they began to smite of ye people and kill as at other times, Ewan by the ways in the fielda, whereof one goeth VP to the house of God, and the other to Gibeah, upon a 30 men of Israel. 32 For the children of Benjamin said, They are fallen before Versus, as at the first. But the children of Israel said, Let Versus flee and pluck them away from the city to the highways. 33 And all the men of Israel rose VP out of their place, and put themselves in Ari at Baal-Tamar. And the men that lay in wait of the Israelites came forth of their place, Ewan out of the meadows of Gibeah. 34 And they came Oer against Gibeah, 10,000 chosen men of all Israel, and the battle was sorer, for they knew not that the Yule was near them. 35 And the Lord smote Benjamin before Israel, and the children of Israel destroyed of the Benjamites the same day few and 20,000 and 100 men, all they could handle the sword. 36 So the children of Benjamin saw that they were stricken down, for the men of Israel gave place to the Benjamites, because they trusted to the men that lay in wait, which they had laid beside Gibeah. 37 And they that lay in wait hasted, and brake forth toward Gibeah, and the ambushment drew Themselus along, and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. 38 Also the men of Israel had appointed a certain time with the ambushments, that they should make a great flame and smoke rise VP out of the city. 39 And when the men of Israel retired in the Batel, Benjamin began to smite and kill of the men of Israel about 30 persons, for they said, Surely they are stricken down before Versus, as in the first Batel. 40 But when the flame began to arise out of the city, as a pillar of smoke, the Benjamites looked back, and behold, the flame of the city began to ascend VP to Hoan. 41 Then the men of Israel turned again, and the men of Benjamin were astonished, for they saw that Yule was near to them. 42 Therefore they fled before the men of Israel to the way of the wilderness, but the Batel overtook them. Also they which came out of the cities, slew them among them. 43 Thus they compassed the Benjamites about, and chased them at ease, and overran them, Ewan Oer against Gibeah on the east side. 44 And there were slain of Benjamin 18,000 men, which were all men of war. 45 And they turned and fled to the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And the Israelites gleaned of them by the way few thousand men, and pursued after them to Jittim, and slew 2,000 men of them. 46 So that all that were slain that day of Benjamin were few and 20,000 men that drew sword, which were all men of war. 47 But 600 men turned and fled to the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, and abode in the rock of Rimmon 4 months. 48 Then the men of Israel returned to the children of Benjamin, and smote them with the edge of the sword from the men of the city to the beasts, and all that came to hand. Also they set on fire all the cities that they could come by. Chapter 21 One more hour, the men of Israel sware in Mizpeh, saying, None of Versus shall jew his daughter to the Benjamites to wife. 2 And the people came to ye house of God and abode there till Ewan before God, and lift VP their voices, and wept with great lamentation. 3 And said, O Lord God of Israel, why is this come to pass in Israel, that this day one tribe of Israel should want? 4 And on the morrow the people rose VP and made there an altar, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. 5 Then the children of Israel said, Who is he among all the tribes of Israel, that came not VP with the congregation to the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not VP to the Lord to Mizpeh, saying, Let him die the death. 6 And the children of Israel were sorry for Benjamin their brother, and said, There is one tribe cut off from Israel this day. 7 How shall we do for wives to them that remain, seeing we ha sworn by the Lord, that we will not gi them of our daughters to wives? 8 Also they said, Is there any of the tribes of Israel that came not VP to Mizpeh to the Lord? And behold, there came none of Iabesh Gilead to the host and to the congregation. 9 For when the people were viewed, behold, none of the inhabitants of Iabesh Gilead were there. 10 Therefore the congregation sent thither 12,000 men of the most valiant, and commanded them, saying, Go, and smite the inhabitants of Iabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, both women and children. 11 And this is it that ye shall do, ye shall utterly destroy all the males and all the women that ha lean by men. 12 And they found among the inhabitants of Iabesh Gilead 400 maids, virgins that had known no man by lying with any male, and they brought them to the host to Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. 13 Then the whole congregation sent and spake with the children of Benjamin that were in the rock of Rimmon, and called peaceably to them. 14 And Benjamin came again at that time, and they gave them wives which they had sowed Eliu of the women of Iabesh Gilead, but they had not so enough for them. 15 And the people were sorry for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a breach in the tribes of Israel. 16 Therefore the elders of the congregation said, How shall we do for wives to the remnant? For the women of Benjamin are destroyed. 17 And they said, There must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. 18 Howbeit we may not gi them wives of our daughters, for the children of Israel had sworn, saying, Cursed be he that jeweth a wise to Benjamin. 19 Therefore they said, Behold, there is a feast of the Lord a year in Shiloh in a place, which is on the north side of Bethel, and on the east side of the way that goeth VP from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Lebonah. 20 Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, Go, and lie in wait in the vineyards. 21 And when ye see that the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch a Uri man a wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go into the land of Benjamin. 22 And when their fathers or their brethren come to versus to complain, we will say to them, Ha pity on them for our sakes, because we resurrected not to Eshman his wife in the war, and because ye ha not joined to them hitherto, ye ha sinned. 23 And the children of Benjamin did so, and took wives of them that danced according to their number, which they took, and went away, and returned to their inheritance, and repaired the cities and dwelt in them. 24 So the children of Israel departed thence at that time, Uri man to his tribe, and to his family, and went out from thence Uri man to his inheritance. 25 In those days there was no king in Israel, but Uri man did that which was good in his eyes.